really amazing
I
because
don't see Shoshie. Does everyone see Shoshie? I don't see her.
I don't see her either. I see her name.
Yeah, I see her name.
I don't know. I went out. Some of you see me, some of you don't.
I see you. I see you, Shoshie.
I also see you.
I see you.
I see Malka Eisen, but I don't see Shoshie.
Hi, I see you, Shoshie.
I see you now.
You're wearing
I
a
see-
brown tichel and you have a pretty picture behind you. That's you.
I see Shoshie. Yeah. Thank you. I see you now.
Okay, so it's amazing how literally what we learned last week came to play out in such a
It
prominent
says her
way.
camera is off.
My camera's on. I'm sorry if you don't see
When
me,
I
but we're
look
going
at
to
the
continue.
participants, it says Shoshie Nisenbaum and it has a camera that's off.
No, but that now we see her.
We're going to continue. I don't know what
Good
the
for you. I
technical
wish I
issues
did.
are, why some of you see me and why
Okay.
some of you don't see me. But A, this is being recorded, and
Maybe
B,
I'll
we're
leave
going
and
to
come back in and I'll see her.
we're gonna continue with the shir. Okay, so it's amazing how what we were learning last week literally came into play, and we lived it. We learned last week the pasuk Gimel in perek Dalet, l'reach shemanecha tovim shemin turak shemecha al ken alumos ahivucha. And we discussed how the Alshech was teaching that this pasuk is Klal Yisrael saying to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, there's two ways that you interact in this world. You give us Hanhaga Tiv'it, which is you set up this incredible system of nature where a person could come close to you, a person could understand.
A personal point of view. Get another man to marry you.
Zipporah, can you please mute yourself?
That HaKadosh Baruch
Thank
Hu,
you.
HaKadosh Baruch Hu acts with us through two different channels, through Hanhaga Tiv'it, which is nature, which is the incredible world, which is the amazing exact science, how the human body works, how the sun is exactly the distance it is from the earth, how the moon is exactly its distance from the earth. Everything set up and provided for us that we could come to recognize that there is a creator, and not just a creator, but a merciful creator, a benevolent creator, a loving creator. And then there's another way that HaKadosh Baruch Hu could reveal himself to us, and that's through Nisim, Hanhaga Nisit. And we said at Matan Torah that was Hanhaga Nisit, that was revelation on a different level. It was miraculous. It was unbelievable. It was something which people saw and felt spirituality and the presence of God and the power of God and the compassion of God in a way which normally human beings can't. And it overrode all of the natural laws of life, which are death is permanent, right? Well, Hashem resurrected Klal Yisrael quite a few times. So we're asking HaKadosh Baruch Hu, we're saying Hashem, Shemen turak shemecha. Nature is like shemen, it's like oil. And oil is like, when we're doing oil in the biblical sense, we're talking about perfume. So when somebody pours a good smelling perfume, right, everybody around them gets to enjoy the smell. Everybody around them smells it, can feel it, can enjoy it. And that's nature. HaKadosh Baruch Hu put nature in the world, and everybody is invited to come close and to recognize and develop consciousness of HaKadosh Baruch Hu through nature. However, what about sitting in the Suda, right? Sitting in the Suda, sitting at the meal at the Mishteh, which is described in Pasuk Beis, right? Where we're sitting and we're eating, drinking wine. You have to be invited, right? You have to be served a plate. That's Hanhaga Nisit. That's miraculous interaction. That's what Hashem does miracles for us. So when we're saying Yeshakeni Minashikos Pihu, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, kiss me in the past, and we're asking for HaKadosh Baruch Hu to kiss me in the future, we're asking HaKadosh Baruch Hu to please give us a seat at the table, give us Hanhaga Nisit, pour us a cup of wine specifically for us that only we enjoy. That's something very intimate and something very special, not something that you give to everybody, that you reveal yourself to everybody, but something that you're giving to me personally. So the last couple of days, HaKadosh Baruch Hu has given us, again, a seat at the table. HaKadosh Baruch Hu has poured for us a cup of wine and said, you, my chosen nation, I am going to protect you from 200 missiles within an hour. I'm going to protect you. Yes, unfortunately, and our heart goes out and we mourn the losses of Klal Yisrael. Just like when Klal Yisrael left Mitzrayim, not everybody left. There was tremendous loss. And it's sad, and our hearts go out to them, and we're going to support the families, Bezrat Hashem, with our prayers and in whatever other resources we have to give. But that doesn't negate the incredible miracles that we personally experienced of being sheltered, of being protected in a miraculous way. So if we think about it, the technology that we have, that Hashem gave us, this incredible technology of protection, is no different than the technology that HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave Moshe Rabbeinu, which was the staff to split the sea. When we're seeing these ballistic missiles being thwarted and destroyed by whatever means where it's being used to do it, whether it's Kippat Barzel or Kela David or the laser, whatever it is, we should see the Yad Hashem. We should see Etzba Elokim Asadzais. This is the fingers of God doing for us. This is Hashem telling us, you are my chosen nation. You have a seat at my party, and I'm going to pour you that wine. So that being said, we move on to Pasuk Dalet. Pasuk Dalet reads, Mashcheni acharecha narutza. Hashem, draw me after you, and I will run. Give me some piece of inspiration. You open for me, right? I'm not motivated now. I don't feel it right now. I'm not doing anything with myself. So Hashem, Mashcheni, you pull me a little bit. Acharecha narutza. And I'll run after you. Just give me the sign. Heviani hamelech chadrav. May the king bring me to his chambers. His inner room. Remember, Shir HaShirim is Holy of Holies. So when we're asking for the inner chamber of the king here, we're asking to be let into the Kodesh HaKadoshim. Nagila v'nismecha bach. And we will rejoice in you, and there's an exclusivity here. We will rejoice only with you. Naskira doidecha meyayin. We will mention and enjoy and bask in your love more than wine. And again, wine, as we saw in Pasuk Beis, represents all other physical pleasures. Meisharim ahevucha, the straight ones loved you. And of course, this is the remez to our avos and our yemos, who are called Meisharim, like the Bereshis itself. Sefer Bereshis is called Sefer HaYashar, the book of the straight, because it is the book which tells us the story of the straight ones, our avos and our imos. So first we'll look into Rashi. Mashcheni acharecha narutza. Draw me and I will run after you. Ani shamati meshluchayich remez sha'amarta lemashcheni. V'ani amarti acharecha narutza liot lecha isha. And again, Rashi is bringing us back to the mashal of a husband and a wife. And she says, I heard, remember she wandered off, right? She wandered off and she said, I heard a hint. I heard a hint that you are actually still interested in me. Give me the signal and I will run after you and I will be your dedicated wife. Heviani hamelech hadrav, the king should bring me to his room. V'gam hayom hazeh odenu ligila v'simcha asher nivdakti b'cha. And even today, even in the golus, even in the exile, even when we're not together, when I want to think about what was the greatest day of my life, I go back to the day that you brought me into your inner chamber. So that inner chamber could either be Matan Torah, when Hashem gave us that complete revelation, or the inner chamber could be the actual Beis HaMikdash, living in a time where we could go into the Beis HaMikdash, where a person could come in contact with such a deep consciousness. Naskira doidecha. and I will mention your love. I will talk about your love. I will bask in your love. Gam hayom ba'almanos chius. Tamid askir dodaich. Even in I'm a live almana, meaning my husband is still alive, but I don't have a relationship with him the way I used to, right? I feel like an almana because the relationship is not active. It's not the way it's supposed to be. So, askir harishonim mikol mishte oineg v'simcha. And I will mention your first love, our first love, right? Our great relationship we had. That was the best. Those minutes at Matan Torah, that was more than anything I will ever enjoy in the world. And this applies also even to us, that we don't have a conscious memory of Matan Torah, even though we were there, because everybody has had great moments, and sometimes they're very short moments of consciousness and connection with HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And what we're saying here in this pasuk is, Hashem, just remind me of those days. Give me a little taste of that, and I'll come running back to it, because those were the best days of my life. Those were the best moments of my life. Meisharim ahevucha, ahava aza. How did the straight ones love you? It was with such a strong love. Ahavas mishor, and it was straight. Beli akiva v'richasim, without any holes in it, without any deviations. It was a straight love. It was real love. Asher ahavucha, ani va'avosai ba'osan hayamim, just like me and my forefathers loved you on those days. This is the pshat, says Rashi, v'lefi dugmato, but on the deeper level, on the mashal level, he maskirim lefanav chesed neurim avos kalulos lechtem acharai bamidbar eretz tzia v'tzelmoves. And on the deeper level, Rashi says, we are telling Hashem, you remember after Matan Torah? You remember when we wandered through the Midbar for 38 years? There was just the parsha now, right? With the Anan, with the trumpets. We never knew if we're coming, if we're going, for how long. We didn't know what we were going to eat. Are we going to get man tomorrow? But you asked us to come, Mashcheni. You pulled us a little bit. You said, here, come with me. Come to Eretz Yisrael. Acharecha narutza, and we ran after you. We ran into the unknown. We ran into the unknown because of our straight and powerful love that we had for you. And if there was any pigam, if there was any blemish in the love that we had to you, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, we wouldn't have come. So we're asking again, Hashem, give us that mashcheni, give us that invitation, give us the sign, show us that you want us, even just a little bit, even a hint, a remez, and we will come running after you, because those were the best days of our lives, and we were completely dependent on HaKadosh Baruch Hu in such a clear way, and everything we did from love. V'gam tzeda lo asu lahem, they didn't have enough prepared, right? We Yiddish mamas, we don't go anywhere. We don't go to the park without bringing enough food for an army. Ve'aminu bo, but we trusted Hashem. Bishalvato, and it was with peace. V'lo amru ha'ech netzei lamidbar, and nobody said, wait a second, how are we going to this desert? Lo makom zera, it's not a place where we could plant, umizonot, and there's no food there. V'halchu acharov, and we went after him. V'hu heviyam l'toch cheder hekef ananov, and HaKadosh Baruch Hu brought us inside his chamber, his inner chamber. What was the inner chamber? To be surrounded by the clouds of glory that protected us. Bizu odam hayom galim b'smechim, and until today, we rejoice and we're happy with you, Hashem. Af lefi einayim b'tzarotam u'mishta'ashim b'torah. Even though we have a lot of tzaros, we have a lot of poverty, we're not in such a great place right now, right? We are being attacked yesterday by 3 different nations. B'tzarotam u'mishta'ashim b'torah v'sham maskirim dodav. But what are we doing? What are we doing today? We are delighting in HaKadosh Baruch Hu's Torah. And we're reminiscing about HaKadosh Baruch Hu's great acts of chesed, our great acts of chesed. We're reminiscing about the great relationship that we had with Hashem, and we're longing to go back to that. And it was better than yayin. It was better than any other worldly pleasure. Umishor ahavasam oisai, and it was straight. It was the straight, incredibly powerful love. So that was Rashi. And the Alshech says, Mashcheni acharecha narutza, draw me and I will run after you. What does this mean? So the Alshech, in his way that he is so beautiful, Ha'adam murkav meguf v'nefesh. Man is a combination. He's assembled from the body and soul. Mivakesh haknisa la'Kadosh Baruch Hu, Knesset Yisrael, the soul of Klal Yisrael, asks Hashem, Azreini lashuv elecha, help me to return to you. V'ka'asher timshoch acharecha nishmasi akrova elecha la'avdecha, and the more you pull me after you, the more you help me to do tshuva, my soul will come closer to you. Like Chazal say, Adam mekadesh atzmo ma'at, a person does a little act of kedusha down here. Mekadshin oso harbe, HaKadosh Baruch Hu will give him, pour upon him a lot of kedusha, a lot of holiness. Ve'az gam chelke hagufim yarutzu acharecha. So if you pull my soul after me, right? You pull your soul after you, Hashem, and you give me this inspiration. Also my body, also the real gashmiut, physicality part of me, the part of me which is very hard to motivate to do holy things, will run after you too. Haviani hamelech hadrav, the king should bring me to his room. K'she'HaKadosh Baruch Hu yavieni el chedrei kel Zion v'Yerushalayim. So the Alshech says, when you will bring me to your room, or when you brought me to your room, it's both. It's both. We're reminiscing about the past, we're talking about the present, and we're asking for the future. When Hashem will bring me to his room in Yerushalayim, that's talking about Zion, Yerushalayim. Oz nagila v'nismecha ragbach. Then, when you bring me back to Yerushalayim, Knesset Yisrael, and we have the Beit Hamikdash, then it will be so clear to me, Hashem, and I will be so able to only rejoice and find joy only with you and with our relationship that we have. Naskira dodecha, b'chol eit sha'anu zochrim es dodecha. Whenever we remember your love, she'hareta lanu az bizman hamikdash, that you displayed for us in the time of the Beit Hamikdash. So even now in the Golus, when we reminisce about how beautiful the relationship between us was when we had the Beit Hamikdash, what an extraordinary, exquisite, amazing level of consciousness that we had with HaKadosh Baruch Hu. When we had the Beit Hamikdash, now we rejoice and we realize that that is the greatest pleasure, greater than any worldly, any other known pleasure to man that there is. Meisharim ahevucha, the straight ones loved you. Avusenu hayisharim ahevucha, our fathers who loved you, this straight love, this love that was pure, this love. Pure love is about the other. It's not about me. It's a very high madrega to love HaKadosh Baruch Hu, l'shem shamayim, to fulfill the ultimate of V'ahavta es Hashem Elokecha, as it is in any relationship, right? And that's how we spoke about in our introduction to Shir HaShirim, that HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave us all of the different relationships that we have in this world. Whether it be friends, whether it be siblings, whether it be parents, whether it be being a parent, whether it be being a spouse. HaKadosh Baruch Hu gives us different relationships so we can practice and have and realize what it means to have a fulfilling, real relationship with another human being and transfer what we practice, those skills of being giving, of caring, of loving. We know in a relationship, a person has to let the other person be, right? We don't smother somebody, we don't control. We have to appreciate, we have to respect, we have to honor, we have to be loyal. All of those characteristics, which are characteristics of almost every relationship and probably every relationship, are what we need to learn to transfer to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, with the goal of understanding that the greatest relationship that we could have is the greatest joy from relationships that we could have is the joy between our relationship with HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Okay. Any questions on Pasuk Dalet before we go on to the fifth Pasuk? Okay. Very quiet. Usually it's not so quiet when we're together. Okay.
I wanted to say something. What
Yes,
you're
Tzvi.
talking about is very close to what it says in Tehillim 80, or Pei. It says, Hashkivenu Adonai v'niva Shea. Draw us close and we will be revived and we will call out your name. The line before says, we'll call out your name. We will not shrink from you, but we will just revive us and we'll call your name. We just want to be with you. And it says not just once in that one Tehillim, it says it 3 times, Hashkivenu v'niva Shea. So
That's also how
that's
we
what you're
end.
talking about. Hmm?
Right, exactly. And it's all over the Tanakh. It's in Eicha, it's many times in Tehillim, all right, where and we see sometimes Hashem says to us, you make the first move, right? So we're constantly having this vikuach, this debate with HaKadosh Baruch Hu, who needs to make the first move? Who's going to do things first, right? Are we going to do things first, or is Hashem going to make the first move? And we have different chagim, we have different holidays, which represent sometimes us initiating, what's called by the Mikubalim, Isarusa de Lisata. We initiate Isarusa from Lashon, His Oribus, from awakening. Are we awakening down here? We start down here. That would be Shavuos. Shavuos, it's up to us, right? Which, if we go backwards, Pesach is what the Mikubalim call Isarusa de La'ela. It's awakening from above. Hashem and Pesach gives us a free gift of spirituality. He calls out to all of us. He wakes all of us up from our spiritual slumber, and he tells us, okay, I'm here. Let's do this together. I'm going to give you this spirituality on a silver platter. And then we need to count. Then we need to do our part, initiate, and prepare ourselves to receive the Torah. So we have this constant discussion between us and Klal, between us and HaKadosh Baruch Hu is, right? Who has to initiate first? Whose turn is it now? Is it our turn or is it your turn? So in this pasuk and in the pasuk that Tzipi quoted from perek Pei, right, is us saying Hashem Hashivenu Hashem Elecha v'nashuva. Hashem, you bring us closer to you, and then we're gonna maintain it, and we're gonna expand it, and we're gonna do better. And sometimes Hashem says to us, it's your turn. Pischuli pesach kechudo shel machat. You open for me in opening the size of the eye of a needle, or the point of a needle is more accurately translated, right? You open for me the point of a needle, v'ani aftach lachem pesach shel ulam, and I will expand upon your little effort, your little hisayrus, and I'll expand upon that and give you something the size of a hall, like an ulam, a wedding hall, a banquet hall, a very wide space. So we're always having this discussion, right? So we, Klal Yisrael, we always want Hashem to initiate, right? And Hashem says to us, well, sometimes you got to initiate also. And that's another thing we know in every relationship, right? If there's only one party in a relationship, right? I'm talking about a human relationship now, human to human relationship. If only one party is the one who always picks up the phone, who always remembers the other one's birthday, right? It doesn't go like that. It doesn't work like that, right? There has to be some kind of sometimes the other person initiates too, right? It can't be just one party is always buying lamashal gifts for the other party. There has to be some kind of reciprocity in terms of initiation. So it's the constant debate of Klal Yisrael and HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Thank you, Tzipi, for sharing. Anyone else have something? You always have such profound things to say. Okay, if anyone remembers, just chime in. Okay. Pasuk Hey, Shchora ani v'nava, I am black and I am beautiful. Benos Yerushalayim, O daughters of Jerusalem, Ka'ohalei Kedar, like the tents of Kedar, Kiyiriot Shlomo, like the curtains of Shlomo. So what are we saying now? It's still Klal Yisrael talking. HaKadosh Baruch Hu hasn't spoken yet. We haven't let him get in a word yet. It's still us. Shchora ani v'nava. Atem rayosi elkel be'einechem. Af al azvani ishi mipnei shchoros. So now that we have a question, right? If we love HaKadosh Baruch Hu so much, and we valued our time together in the Beit Mikdash, and we valued those 38 years of wandering and being completely dependent on Hashem's mercy and of living these miracles that we're asking for now, and we so enjoyed HaKadosh Baruch Hu's revelation at Matan Torah, and we're saying that's ki toivim doidecha meyayin, that it's better than wine, and we said again, wine represents all worldly pleasures. So why did you leave him? Why did you leave HaKadosh Baruch Hu? Why did you say no at Matan Torah? Why do, as we had in the parsha, did we complain? And we're going to have in this week's parsha, why did you say, we can't go up to Eretz Yisrael? Why did you do all of that? Right? Why do we, and we could ask the same question ourselves. We have tremendous siyata d'shmaya, we have tremendous bracha in our lives. We have so much good. Why do we wander from the path? Right? Why do we leave HaKadosh Baruch Hu? Why do we not maintain this great relationship with HaKadosh Baruch Hu? So in this pasuk, Klal Yisrael is addressing that. In other words, she's talking to the nations of the world who say, if you are the chosen people, why do you not listen to God? Why don't you not maintain that relationship with God? So Rashi is saying here that I know you're all asking, but I want you, al ekal be'einechem, don't take me light. Don't make fun of me. Don't mock me. Don't put me down. Even though, right, it seems that I have become burned, black as in like my skin is like full of piach, of coal and burn, you should know that that's not something which is sticking to me. My dirt is not sticking to me. It's something which is shizavsani hashemesh. It's like a sunburn. It's something that's going to go away. Vinava, I am beautiful. I'm not dirty. Ani bichituch evarim naim. My body is formed beautifully. Imani shchora ka'ale kedar. If I am like black, as in mud, dirt, from the tents of Kedar, hamashchirim mipnei hakshamim, which become black from all of the rain, from all of the mud which washes up, shehem prusim tamid bamidbarot, which are always spread out in the desert. Kala ali litkabes liot kiryot shlomo. I could very easily just wash off that mud, and be pristine like the beautiful curtain of Shlomo HaMelech. Dugma hizot omeret Knesset Yisrael le'umois. Rashi says this is what the Klal Yisrael is saying to all of the goyim, to all of the nations who don't understand. If everything is so good for you, if you've been chosen nation, why do you deviate from the path? Why don't you behave? Why don't you recognize that you're the chosen nation? Shchora ani b'ma'asai. Yes, I have some of my deeds are black. V'na'eh ani b'ma'aseh avosai. But I have beautiful deeds which I inherited and I hold on to and are a part of me from my father. V'af b'ma'asai, and even my deeds. Yesh behem na'im, I have amongst them beautiful things. Im yesh bi oven ha'egel, if I have with me the golden calf. Yesh bi kenegdo zchus kabbalas haTorah, I have, which balances it out, the merit of Kabbalah Torah, of accepting the Torah. Umos benos Yerushalayim, and we call the nations the daughters of Jerusalem. Al Shem shehi atida le'asos metropolin lechulam, kemoshen nibayechet, because Jerusalem in the future is going to be a metropolis. It's going to be the main city, metropolitan, for all of the entire world. So Benot Yerushalayim means the suburbs of Yerushalayim. Eretz Yisrael will all be Yerushalayim, and anyone living outside of Yerushalayim, it will be like they're living in the suburbs of Yerushalayim. Like the prophet Yecheskel prophesies, "V'natati eshen l'chol levanos," and I will give them to you like banot. Here it doesn't mean daughters, literally. It means suburbs. Kamo Ekron uvnoseha, like we see in Yeshua, Ekron uvnoseha. Okay, so Rashi is saying that Klal Yisrael is saying two things to the Goyim. Number one, don't confuse Jews with Judaism, okay? Just because you see me doing certain things which are bad doesn't mean that I am all bad. It doesn't mean that I am dirty. Yes, I have mud. I have mud caked on me. Mud represents sin here, or lack of good deeds. But I can easily remove that mud and be my beautiful self that I am. And then we're saying, but you have to understand that we really are beautiful. We are beautiful in the deeds of our fathers, and we are beautiful in our deeds. Now, there's a discussion in the Gemara. What is chus avos? What is merit of our fathers? Is it some kind of vitamin P, protexia, where, I just like when you go into the bank, well, I know the manager, right? He's my nephew. Or, you need something from Misrad HaPnim, and the woman who sits there, well, she's your neighbor, right? Okay, is that what schus avos is? Is it protexia, or what we call here vitamin P, right? Well, obviously not. So how does schus avos work? Schus avos works in the following way. Schus avos or schus imos, and we'll discuss the difference between them in a minute. Schus avos, actually, the Gemara tells us, is over, right? Pag tokef, it is expired. We no longer have schus avos. What we do have is bris avos. We have schus imahos still, the merit of our foremothers, but the merit of our forefathers has expired. We've used it up already. It's past date. But we do have is bris avos and imahos. What does bris avos mean? And the previous Biala Rebbe, Zecher Tzadik Livrach, explains this in his Sefer Mevaser Toiv. What it means is the following. When HaKadosh Baruch Hu looks at us, and he sees us doing, for example, a chesed, which is really beyond our comfort zone, and he says to us, and he looks at us, and he calls all the angels in heaven, and he says, look at, Tzipori, you're on my screen, so it's going to be you, right? Look at Tzipi. Look at the chesed that Tzipi is doing. Look at how Tzipi is leaving her comfort zone to do this chesed. She's stretching her chesed muscles. She reminds me of Rivka Imenu. And that immediately evokes schus imahus, the merit of Rivka. And when HaKadosh Baruch Hu sees us being mevater, when HaKadosh Baruch Hu sees us saying, okay, I'm going to pick shalom, I'm going to not share this great piece of Lashon Hara, which would really make me look good and make other people look bad, or I am going to let somebody else tell some kind of crazy story about themselves, how they did chesed X, Y, and Z when it was really me, and I should be taking the credit, and I'm going to pick peace over making a scene, and I'm going to be mivater. HaKadosh Baruch Hu calls all of the angels, and he says, look at Tzipi. Look at Tzipi, how she was mivateret. She reminds me of Rachel Imenu, when Rachel Imenu was mivateret to her sister Leah and didn't open her mouth, when she could have said things which really could have put Leah back a couple paces, right, and hurt Leah. Or even before hurting Leah, she could have just claimed the marriage for herself. But she didn't. She kept quiet. She bit her tongue. She swallowed her tongue. made a hole in her tongue, right? You remind me of Rachel Imenu. This evokes bris avos. This evokes the merit of our forefathers. When we're davening on Rosh Hashanah and we mention, right, in Zichronos, we mention the avos. This is why we're mentioning the avos. We're asking that HaKadosh Baruch Hu look down upon us and see how we are walking in the ways of our avos and our imos, and this evokes schos avos. And if we look hard, we will see how we walk in the ways of our forefathers and mothers all the time. Okay, so now we're looking to the Alshech. Shchora ani v'nava, hapasuk hazeh mitchalek zeh leumat zeh. This pasuk is divided one against the other. Okay, one is going to balance out the other. Shchora ani ko'alei kedar. I am dirty, black, blackened like the tents of Kedar, these tents which are used in the desert in the rainy season, and all of the mud of the desert washes up upon them. But I am beautiful like the daughters of Yerushalayim, like the curtains of Shlomo. And then, oops. And so the Alshech, that's the end of the Alshech. Okay, until Pasuk Vav or Zion. But what the Alshech is saying is, he's saying the Pasuk is coming to balance out each other. The Pasuk is saying, yes, I have sins, but my entity is really beautiful. Don't mix the sins with the sinner, right? I am a pure person. And one of the biggest Yetzer Haras and traps of the Yetzer Hara is that the Yetzer Hara wants us not only to do the sin, that's the easy part. The Yetzer Hara wants to exchange our identity as a good person to a bad person. Because if you're a bad person, right, well, going to hell anyways, might as well do what I want. Or I'm such a bad person, what difference does it make? There's no hope for me. So part of that is viewing ourselves not as dirty and someone who could just wash up and clean up and be pristine, but the Yetzer Hara wants us to identify ourselves as black. And this pasuk is telling us, no, you are not full of mud, right? You might have mud caked on you, but that's not who you are. Just go take a bath. Just do tshuva, right? Just like the tents of Kedar, which become extremely muddy. Just wash them off. Wash them off. And all of the mud comes off, right? All of the mud comes off. So here, the pasuk is telling us, Klal Yisrael is proclaiming our identity. You, the nations of the world, think because we did the chet of the golden calf, and because we did the sin of the spies, and because even now we don't always behave, right? And we have all kinds of parshiot, right? Different parshas and different infamous things that Jews have been involved with, both as individuals and as groups, right? No, that's not who we really are. That's not our identity. No, we are the chosen nation. Yes, we did the Chet HaEgel, but we can wash ourselves of it. Yes, we did the Chet Meraglim, but we can wash ourselves of it. Yes, we don't all keep Shabbos, we don't all keep kosher, but we can wash ourselves of it. Who we really are is Kiryot Shlomo, these beautiful curtains, pristine curtains, delicate curtains, works of art curtains, good people. That's who we are. Okay. Any questions before we move on to Pasuk Vav?
I
Or
actually have a
comments?
question. I have a question. It's Elisheva.
Sure, Eliseva.
Yeah. I just wanted to know this idea of not having the Zchut Avot anymore. Like, where does that come from? Like you said, this Pug Tokef. How do we know that?
Of not of Zchut Avot, because we used it up.
How do we know?
The Gemara says we used it up. The Gemara has a
Oh,
discussion.
really?
Matai.
Oh,
When was it used up? When did it expire? Did it expire by the second Beit Hamikdash? Did it expire by the first Beit Hamikdash? Did it expire in the Golus? But we still have bris avos. Bris avos means when we act in the way of the avos, we evoke their merit.
I hear. Okay, now it's clear. Got it. Okay, thank you.
Okay. Any other questions or
got it.
comments or insights? Yeah, okay. Yofi. We move on to Pasuk Vav. Pasuk Vav is a continuation of the previous Pasuk. Al teruni shani shchachores. Don't see me as being this dirty, right? I'm not dirty. Sheshizafsani hashemesh. I'm burned by the sun. Bnei imi nicharubi. My mother's sons were angry at me. Samuni noitera esakramim. And they gave me the position, they put me in the place. Notera means to watch over the vineyards. Karmi sheli lo natarti. And my vineyard, I did not watch over. This is such a powerful pasuk. So Rashi says, Al teruni, al tistaklu li bizayon. Don't look at me in a mocking, condescending way, like it says in Shmuel Aleph pasuk Vav. Sha'ani shchachores, lefi she'ein shechusi v'chiori mimei imi. I'm not dirty biologically. I'm not dirty genetically. Ela ayidei shezifas hashemesh. This is a sunburn. She'oto shechus noach litlabein. I could wash it off. I could get rid of it. It's gonna go. It's just a matter of time. As long as I stop standing in the sun, as long as I get out of the mud. Bnei imi nicharubi, hein bnei Mitzrayim. These are the sons of Mitzrayim. Shegidalti bahem, that I was raised amongst them. Va'alu imi be'erev rav, and they came out with me in the erev rav, this mix of people who left Mitzrayim and like leeches attached themselves onto Klal Yisrael and caused us endless sarot, many hardships. Hey nicharubi, they got angry with me. Bahasatam, with their, and they hasata is to convince somebody to do something bad. What was the word?
Incitement, no?
Incitement. Thank you. There's a stronger word. Okay, it's not coming to me now. Upitruim, and all kinds of pitruim is incitement. As hasata is a very, wait, someone put it in the chat. What could hasata divert? It does mean divert, but here it means to like divert somebody from the good path. It's a bad influence. So the Erev Rav, they were a horrible influence on me, and they got me to watch over their vineyard, but I didn't tend my own vineyard. Notra esakramim. And what happened when I was watching their vineyard? Well, when I was watching their vineyard, that's when I got burned, and that's when I got dirty. Klomar nitznuni avodat kochavim acherim. They gave me to worship other avodat kochavim. Instead of serving Hashem, I was serving other entities. The karmi shaya sheli me'avosai, and my vineyard, which was mine, that my fathers gave me, that I inherited, lo natarti, I didn't take care of it. This is such a strong pasuk. Klal Yisrael is mourning the loss of self here. When we say that we got angry and we did something which was out of character, we say, I lost myself, right? Here, Klal Yisrael is bemoaning the loss of herself. This is us bemoaning, how did I do that? What happened here, right? How did I end up not having a good relationship with HaKadosh Baruch Hu? How did I end up doing certain sins that don't make sense? It doesn't make sense that I should do this sin because I just said, who am I? I'm a good person, right? So how did I end up behaving in such a way? How did I hurt another human being in such a way? How did I disconnect from Hashem in such a way? Because I am a good person. So here we say, this is what happened. You know what happened? Samuni noitera esakramim. I started watching others' vines, and I didn't watch over my own vine. And this is the key to how we end up in a bad relationship with anybody, and certainly with HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And that is is when it's not just disloyalty to the other person, it's disloyalty to myself. When I cross boundaries and I do things which are not my place to do, I say something which is not in my place to say, I do something which is taking away from somebody else's space or infringing on their place, on their life, on their soul, and I'm not watching my own soul. And this is something which is very, very, it sounds so simple, just mind your own business, stay in your lane, right? Make your own gvulot. But it's very, very difficult, right? Think about how difficult it is with children, right? Children, we want to be mechanech them, we want to give them a good life, we want to provide from them, we want to give them instruction on how to live their life. But when do we cross that line of living their life for them, right? And instead of taking care of ourselves, right, I am just focusing on the child. Rav Avigdor Miller used to point this out with the pasuk, Ele told us Noach, Noach. These are the generations of Noach, Noach. Who is the first generation? It is us, right? We have to take care of our spiritual self, not in a selfish way, but in a way, if we really want to influence our children and do chinuch for our children, so I need to be fixing myself all the time. I need to be, what's the word I'm looking for? Balancing myself and being mu'uzan. There's a term that I'm looking for, which I can't, words are escaping me now. Maybe we're tired.
Mitzaken, like mitzaken, we have to mitzaken ourselves.
There's a psychological term for it, to balance oneself out, to be emotionally balanced. There's a word for it, and I can't remember the word right now. It's a term, right? One of the most important things that a mother does for a child is teach a child, right, that they could balance out their emotions. And I can't remember the term for it. We have to introspect. Somebody put into the chat. That's absolutely true, because but we want to, how can we help our children? Regulation, thank you, Esther. Regulate, self-regulate, right? So here, take right now with all of the stress of the war, right? If I can't self-regulate myself, if I'm freaking out, right? I really can hear my sons in the background saying, yeah. If I'm freaking out, you could say hello. If I'm, just know it's being recorded. If I'm freaking out, right? I can't really help. Say hi. I can't really help. I can't really help my children self-regulate, right? It's not going to work, okay? Adarabba, I'm going to tell them, okay, everything is fine. And inside myself, I'm like, oh my God, like this is, the Armageddon is coming or whatever, okay? It's not going to help, right? So when we tend other people's kramim without tending our own, we end up bankrupt on all sides. And that's what Klal Yisrael is mourning here and grieving. Why didn't I watch over my own vineyard? Why didn't I tend my own vineyard? In my line of work, right, as basically a Toenet Rabbanit, I do almost divorces either through litigation or try to do it through mediation. Doesn't always work. Basically all day, except for when I have a nice break to learn some beautiful Torah with you. So I see this over and over again, right? How you have doesn't matter a man or a woman, right? Although I have to say it is more of a woman thing, at least from my unofficial, unscientific research, where a woman could invest in her family, in her husband, in her children, and it could be a man, right? It could be a man also, but I just see that the percentage, at least of my clients, which again is not scientific study, would be women. I think it's more the personality and the ofi of a woman to do this. Invest in her family, in her children, in her husband, in her children, and her husband. But she forgot one thing: to invest in herself. And what happens when she doesn't invest in herself is she's really actually not investing in her children or her husband. It turns into something which is more of a control issue, right? We know that our cup has to be full, and then we can inspire others, and then we could spring and give to others to drink. But if I'm on empty, and I'm this martyr, right? I'm martyring for 20 years. At the end of 20 years, you're not a martyr just a martyr anymore. And first of all, nobody wants your sacrifice, right? Everybody is resentful of you. But not only that, you're left with almost nothing, right? You're bankrupt. Your relationships are all bankrupt because you're not giving from a place of love and of overflow. You're giving from solely a place of duty and control. Now, of course, that I just described something very extreme. Most of us are somewhere in the middle where we struggle with that, right? We struggle to stay within our lane and to be able to tend to ourselves, and at the same time, with the goal of giving to others. And it's a very, very delicate place to be. And it's a huge challenge for us, right? A huge challenge to try to figure out where that line is of being me, of watching over my garden, my spirituality, my emotional equilibrium, my self-regulation, right? But not, God forbid, being selfish and being, starting with narcissistic tendencies and narcissistic behaviors. So in this pasuk, and we'll do the Alshech next week, Bezrat Hashem, we'll be able to meet together. We'll be able to meet in Zion, Yerushalayim, not just Rehov Yerushalayim, right? But learning together. We're all waiting, Bezrat Hashem. We're looking forward to more miracles and Besuros Tovos, and waiting to hear the siren of Mashiach, Bezrat Hashem.
Amen.
Were there any questions? Were there any questions or comments?
Thank you so much.
יישר כוח, thank you.
Thank you.
All
It's
the
very
best.
good.
Besuros Tovos.
Thank you.